Test, 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 test. Checking the audio levels. All right. New microphone in action. Test, 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 test. Checking the audio levels. All right. New microphone in action. Oh, I like this. Let's see. Let's see if I tweak the gain up. How does that sound? How's that coming through? Is it better? Oh, that's actually working quite nicely. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay here. Hopefully I can edit some of this out through the YouTube tools once this gets uploaded, but sorry, there's a bit of a delay here. Hopefully I can edit some of this out through the YouTube tools once this gets uploaded, but alright, so I'm going to mute my stream and hopefully we can go from here. So, sorry. So I'm going to be picking up where we left off the other day, continuing on with this character. I'm planning on kind of exploring a few different design ideas, kind of like in the vest combo thing, but I might play around with the jacket a little bit, kind of update him a bit. It's feeling a little old-fashioned, and I want to kind of... this character is definitely not that. Right, so I'm looking to kind of tweak the feel of him a little bit more, maybe build his style up a little bit more modernly, or perhaps just take it a little bit further away from the sort of classic look that we've got here. So I'm going to be exploring a few different things, maybe get a little bit more into refining the face down, maybe some of the anatomy, and explore some of the cloth a little bit more in depth today. Got a lot of time, well, got a few hours anyway to work with, so hopefully that'll be enough to explore a little bit of this. So let's start with our tool menu. I'm going to quickly duplicate out a copy of this mesh here. Let me see if I can get myself a little bit more desk space. Sorry, this might rattle around in the microphone. Oh. That's weird. Looks like I had a bit of an error there. It looks like everything's still going, so I'm not sure what that's all about. Alright, well, so be it. If it's still streaming, then I'm still good to go. Whoops. Losing my setup here. Tweak a few things. Let's get this back. There we go. Alright, now I'm in a more comfortable spot. Okay. So, let's dive right in. I already made a duplicate, so that should be good.
Filter presents Trending Now, the ultimate hit list.
I'm actually going to switch over to a different music player. So I don't get ads every 10 seconds here. Hopefully that'll be alright for everyone. Let's see. So, exploring a few different designs here. Let's get that dynamic draw size off and make sure my symmetry is working, and like that, and just kind of... So I think the big one, I'm kind of combining a few different ideas together here. I definitely want to maybe lift the collar up a little bit more. I might even cut it off and separate it so I can play with it a little bit more. Be able to see my stream so I can interact with the chat. Okay. I'm just gonna remove this here a little bit. Of course, the collar itself, I still want to keep fairly high. I think I might even build up sort of a high collar on this. Really enjoy high collars, so I think put a little bit of my own style preferences in here. Have some fun with this. some of that out. And extend these little bits out here. Flesh that out a little bit more. It's the vest sticking through. I can actually tuck the vest in a little bit here. Oops. Symmetry. Might even play around a little bit with the shoulder. I really like the small focal shift on my move brush when I'm nudging things around like this. This way I can kind of get that little shape in there. That gives them a little bit more of a shoulder pad almost look there. Make the material feel a little bit stiffer on this version. Now this is a Dynamesh, so I can do a lot just playing around with the different volumes and just sort of pulling things around pretty haphazardly. Find my Organifier brush here. I'm just going to trim this in a little bit. I'll get this as well back here and just kind of throw that seam back in there a bit. Remesh it. Move on. What's this? Is this the shirt? This looks like the shirt. Yeah, it's a shirt collar. Okay. Just tuck that in a little bit while we're here. Get that out of the way. Oh, looks like we got the shirt underneath sticking through as well. And if that ends up crashing through the anatomy later, I'll just kind of continue to refine down the different layers, so hopefully that'll resolve that issue. Hop back to my clay build up a bit here. Okay, how am I feeling about that? I kind of like that. High collar. Let's see if we can lift it up a little bit more. He's got a long neck. I'm going to mask out that. Actually, you know what? Let's do it the other way around. Let's throw the mask on the collar here and just invert it. I can stretch it out without worrying about pulling the wrong part of the coat around. How do I like that? Oh, I like that height a lot better. Frames the neck a little bit better there. There we go. Let's just pull this forward a little bit more. So that overhang. Correct the spot here a little. And I should go from here. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So I'm going to add in the next piece here. I'm doing a simple extract, I think. What do I want to use here? I could actually go with a... Curved trifill could be an interesting way to do this. No, maybe curved quad fill? I prefer that. I'm not a fan of those. Let's see. Just trying to think of the sort of collar I want. I could probably build it pretty thick to start, so maybe I'll actually just pull it off of this. I'm actually going to do this the hard/easy way here. Make sure I got my back face mask on my mask pen here, so don't mask the inside of the surface at all. And just get that top edge and use the move brush on this thing. Let's just do that a little bit. I think this will work well. Yeah, this is going to be fine. I did this with the hat earlier, so should work nicely with this, I think. Now the downside to this approach is that it's really hard to kind of control the shape internally without re-dynameshing this, and I don't want to re-dynamesh too quickly because I'm going to lose that mask, so really kind of thinking about just what sort of shape do I want to establish early on here. And once I can kind of get that basic shape down, I can kind of continue to tweak this. But if I jump ahead too quickly, I'm going to run into some problems just maintaining the shape. Fortunately, I can also kind of tuck things in easily and smooth maybe some of these internal faces around a little bit. Get a smaller brush going and just kind of relax. Oh, gotta be careful not to get to that edge there. Oh, that's not really what I want there. Maybe if I shorten up the back. How much do I like that? I kind of really want this to kind of stick out a lot more, but I don't want it to kind of flare out too much in the back. Maybe I'll just kind of sculpt that up into more of an arc in the back when I get the chance. That might work better. Yeah, that could work. Let's go with that for now, anyway. And smooth some of this out. Not bad, not bad. That'll work. Gotta be careful smoothing these shapes out with the Dynamesh. If I'm not careful, I'll lose my edging and end up with something that comes out too thin, and I start to get little holes popping up all over the place from the thickness. But just keeping an eye on that as I go, and hopefully won't run into too many issues with it. I'm going to kind of tweak this shape out a little bit more and really kind of get more of an angle going here. Grab my standard brush maybe and use that to kind of pull these edges up. No back face mask on this because I want to kind of pull both sides and just get a little bit more length in this area here. Just by kind of pulling this up against the neck a little bit higher. Better. Maybe a little inflate along this edge to keep the thickness more consistent, just for how it reads. Let's get that move brush back in here and just really get that. Oh, topological time. Yeah, it's topological. Great for moving these two surfaces without kind of affecting one or the other too much. Yeah, I love that. That's going to work nicely. Just kind of play with that arc a little bit and let that kind of go from kind of arced up against the neck here. And something that sort of pulls forward mostly, right? Really kind of looking at that lean. It's a little too much down here. I'm going to kind of straighten the transition out a little bit. Tuck that in. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's going to work for now anyway, and I might end up kind of giving it a little bit more structure as I go, but I'm happy with that. And the other area I want to kind of rework is this piece here. Maybe even some of the buttons. I'm really liking a part of another design that I saw. I'm going to kind of use some of those ideas and see if I can give this more of a modern feel. Clean up those lines, get rid of these buttons in here. I really want to kind of get rid of this wrinkle as well, make this material feel a little bit more refined down shape-wise. Really focus on getting a nice taper in the waist. That slim suit profile type look here. Everything sort of fits its proportions all that much better there. sort of right along the rib cage here, right? I don't want to go too low down in the waist. Tuck all this in right around here. I don't think I'm going to leave any space for a belt in the sort of design either. I don't think that'll work too well, so I kind of think of another way to tackle this region. Sometimes I like to just kind of look at these shapes without worrying about what it's doing to the underlying form, so I can kind of tweak the design of the body and the proportions a little to fit that. Don't mind that. And I think that'll work. Clay buildup in here going. So I think with this I'm going to kind of build up like a wing of overlapping. Let's get the more of that traditional angle on top. Mirror that angle a little bit. I could do sort of two angles, sort of this line and then this line. I think I want to do that a little shorter. Let's get that steep angle first and then just that flattened angle, and then that can go right down like that. Yeah, I like that. Maybe I'll do it. Same thing up here, where it kind of tapers back. I want to kind of be able to fit a pocket, maybe. I might like a pocket in here. Some sort of pocket detail there. Problem is, the lower I run this detail, the more I kind of encroach on room for pocket details like that. So I think I'll leave it like that for now. Maybe I can kind of do the inverse of this angle and then flat edge here. Let's shorten that up a little bit more as well. Do this. That, and then like a little curl at the end, maybe. It's gonna have to kind of wrap. Now I just gotta build up the volume, because this is gonna be sort of a soft fold, because it can potentially close back up on itself and overlap and kind of close the jacket up, I guess, in a sense. So I want to leave some room for that. Build up that. like that. How am I feeling about that? If anything, I need more of a inward sort of angling to all of this, so it kind of flows with the taper in the torso a little bit. Overlap some of these shapes here. I'm doing a quick scan on Google off screen here to see if I can see a few different ideas to help deal with the lower part of this coat. Maybe I'll just cut some panels in. I think that might be enough to do the trick. We got the pocket here. Got the seam running down the center of the back. Kind of slice it through here a little bit. Let's clean up that laziness. Let's add that in. Clean up this brush stroke a little bit. There we go. Better. Oops. There we go. 3, maybe? Not a fan. Maybe the pockets will be enough. Keep it kind of clean from the bottom down. Or from that lower part, anyway. Yeah. Just want to kind of clean up the cloth a little bit here by evening out some of these forms, right? One of the things to keep in mind whenever you're dealing with cloth is just kind of considering the volume, right? And a lot of these things are built from patterns, right? And basically cutting off of sheets of cloth, and they're going to be basically these tubes or slightly oddly shaped sort of tubes and cylinders. So the length of the cloth all the way around has got to be consistent. Now, I'm not simulating this, so I can't be positive. I got to kind of eyeball it until it looks right, but it's still important to kind of trim out any sort of variation and wobble in the form. When I work with my students, it's one of the things that I like to emphasize. So just kind of looking at this shape, for example, down the back of the arm here, I got to really kind of fill that in until that sits a little bit more straight. So I spend a lot of my time looking at the model from a lot of different angles, and I can have a gradual taper, but it's got to be consistent. It wouldn't be sort of cut in a way that wobbles in and out. It doesn't look good, right? It's not how a clothing designer would work, and this is very much a designed piece of clothing, or at least it's trying to be the feel that I give it here. Whether I succeed or not will be, I suppose, up to the audience, but hopefully I can either succeed or fail miserably and learn something, so no shame either way. Give it a shot, see how it turns out. Very excited to try. Let's see here, just dig this in a little bit, start thinking about the cuffs here, how this is going to sit. I want to kind of have the cuff feel almost like a suit jacket, or it sits just shut. Well, I'll probably sit it a little bit along the wrist line here. Evening out that shape a little bit more. Right? I still got that Dynamesh, so I can remesh this along the way. If you haven't noticed, I'm not using the reproject feature. I find at a certain resolution it just costs a lot of time. So, unless I'm working really low res and I want to retain detail, I tend to just work with the blur at 0 and keep that Dynamesh kind of as low res as I can get it, and just not, if I lose a little bit of detail here and there, well, it's going to have to be reworked and reestablished anyway, right? So there's only so much that I can do with that. Let's play around with the taper on this a little bit. Let that thin out a little bit more evenly there. I also want to kind of get this sleeve a little bit more circular, a little bit more rounded out. Oops. Mess with the focal shift quite so much there. And I lost my title. Alright, let me just retitle this stream here. I don't get how to change the title of the broadcast correctly here. I've been having this trouble all this time, haven't I? Alright, well that worked. Alright, hopefully that'll stick. Awesome. Alright, fix that. I don't know why that happens. If anyone happens to have any input on how to kind of get my titles to stick properly, it would be really, really helpful. I'm pretty new to this streaming thing. This is my third stream. There's four previous videos already in the list, but most of that is a result of some poor, or the streaming cutting out at various stages and having to be reset. But I must say I've been struggling a little bit with the titles, which is not the problem I expected to run into, to be honest. But let's clean up this edge here with a little clip. I think that'll be alright. Get the length there. And I like to make sure my clothing feels like it's sitting on the arm, so I'm going to kind of sit the top of the sleeve on the wrist here a little bit. Hopefully that'll feel a bit better, a bit more natural. Awesome. Alright. Happy with that. One thing that I might want to do, and I don't generally like to do too much symmetrical cloth, but I might do a little bit of sort of wrinkle, suggest some wrinkles in here anyway. I like the standard brush for a lot of this stuff. Might even play around with some gravity here. Got my gravity controls down at the bottom, but I'm running out of interface space here. Let's give it a little bit of gravity and just kind of go in with that standard brush and throw in a few wrinkles. So I'm going to throw transparency mode on. Make sure I know exactly where that elbow's sitting. Elbow's actually a little high up. Maybe I'll tweak that first. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but got pretty long limbs here, so this is always a little tricky for me. Drop those shoulders down a little bit more into the torso. So, let's get back to that standard brush. I'm just gonna throw a few just basic gestured wrinkles through here. Really like using that standard brush. Let's see if I can get this actually, you know what, I'm gonna leave the gravity facing downwards and just flip my view. It's a little easier than trying to tweak the gravity back and forth. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a, I want to be a little higher up. Like that. Of course, with a bit of volume being added in like that, I'd also get just kind of fold them down like this a little bit. Put that wrapper in there. I'm just referencing this a little bit off of the reference I've been using to kind of design the cloth here. So always important when you're tackling cloth to have some good reference for your own sanity and kind of block out some basic wrinkles. I don't want to do too much here because I'll probably end up redoing a lot of this work, but I'm just gonna a bit more of a fold through here. Just something to kind of give it a little bit of a little less sort of stiff, you know. Feeling the cloth through here. So I'm gonna wrap around here a little bit, maybe. That'll do for now, right? It gives it a little bit of a softer feel without making it too dramatic. Do the same thing with the cloth through here just a bit. Definitely don't want it to be too strong. That's better. Yeah, something like it's a little too much. I'm gonna knock this back a lot here. Don't want this to feel like it's bunching up too much here. I'm gonna end up with something that feels a little too I don't know, untailored, unfit, right? It's not. This is definitely a character that's likes his clothes, you know, likes his style. Not liking how that's feeling at all. Let's do a little move brush. Take some of the depth out of these shapes. Go. Clean up the crashing. Yeah, I like that. That's better. Okay. Let's clean up the scenes again, right? Always, I'm not too worried about losing this stuff while I'm sketching here, but I'm gonna get it back in there while I can. Let me throw in the clay buildup a little and do that sort of thicker edge than I had there. Okay, so I got like a little space for some buttons here, 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 and here. That's gonna be good. Let's lower this one down a little bit, something like that. I'm mostly just establishing this so I can, again, kind of go in with that standard brush and throw in some bigger bigger wrinkles and folds over this stuff, right? Because this is going to kind of pinch around the buttons. It's kind of faded as it reaches this high point in the something like that. Okay, let's just do Canifire stuff. I'm just going to take those spaces. Let's drop in some lines. A little button. Let's get a little closer. Here's a little trick that I'm going to use just for measuring the space out. I'm just going to kind of use the brush radius as a rough measuring tool. It's not too bad. I could probably nudge this up just a touch, keep that a little bit more even, and throw the last one in here. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's get this let's do a nice low focal shift, standard brush, kind of get that edge. Oh, there we go. Fire to get that back side tucked in there. Go like that. Alright, what other elements do I want to include? There's another little detail on the reference that I'm looking at that I really like. Just a really beautiful coat. I'm not much of a designer myself, so I like to borrow a lot of ideas. Some people not a big fan of borrowing. I'm especially as someone who's still kind of learning the ins and outs of design, I really like to borrow different ideas and see how they transform my own work, you know. What if I did an angle out and then a step back and then that's interesting. And then that can kind of come back out. Step out, come back around like that. Okay. Maybe right to the words the back pocket. Oh, I like that. And then we get sort of a line down the side, maybe? So That could be interesting. Let's see how I like that when I flesh it out. So that's sort of just the seam of the line, the cut. Let's add in the bead. Use that standard brush. I'll get rid of the gravity. I don't need that. This is sort of sitting over the construction of the layer underneath. Ooh, we could throw like a button on that side. That would be interesting. It's almost like there's just more give underneath this area. Like that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try this. Let's see what this looks like. So the seam here goes away. Let's just kind of raise this piece up a little. It's sort of another separate sort of layer that sits on top. That's kind of how I'm seeing it so far. This is almost like a thicker layer. that'll work. Yeah. Maybe I could even treat that in this. Let's see if it works in a different material another time. This is a little odd, this little volume here. I think I'm end up kind of pulling this back and forth because of the volume of the thigh here. Thicker band here. Knock my water over. No, not quite, but yeah, that'll work. I think I want to kind of cut this down the inside of the arm here, so I got to get that last seam on the sleeve here in the right spot, otherwise I'm never going to be able to get this right. I'm just going to carve this down here. Yeah. That kind of fades after that seam. This is pretty much coming out of that and wrapping around till around the outside of the pinky. That's going to end there. I think I like that. So let's get that clay buildup back in here. Just trim that back down. Oops. Maybe a little further forward. I want it to kind of be visible from the front, right? Just the edge of it. I want that to kind of sit out so it looks like you can kind of see the buttons, or the button that will be on there at some point to hold it down. Tighten the sleeve up correctly, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Now that's going to basically mean that the inside of this sleeve is going to need to sit further forward to fit that. So I'm going to kind of pull this edge forward with the clay buildup. And go back in with that organifier and push that line. Something like that. And then I'm just going to smooth that back edge down a little. There we go. Maybe I'll fill it a little bit more. Just get a nice broad brush and just sort of smooth that transition out a little bit more. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I imagine that hopefully someday someone will stumble across these archives and find my commentary useful. At the moment, I'm just talking to myself. This is kind of weird, but I guess it's not weird. I do this every day, but usually there's an audience at least. But yeah, okay, I think that's working. Cool. Alright, how am I feeling about that? I think I like that. I need some boots on this. This looks ridiculous. You need some shoes. I think I'm going to opt with a boot because it kind of makes sense for the character. He might have to do a lot of walking, and definitely want to keep his feet in good safe condition. So I think I'm going to go opt for a bit of a boot style here. Very rough sketched in feet at the moment. Let's just mask that and see what we got in solo mode here. No other masks. No, I do have a mask. Look at that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's do a quick extract. I keep forgetting I've got these extract features here. Oh, did I do this double-sided? No, I didn't. I forget. I'm gonna take a moment here. Grab a little bit more. Be right back, folks. Alright, so let's see if the microphone's still working here. Let me pause the audio for a sec before I get back in all of this. Alright, so let's see if the microphone is still working here. Let me audio seems to be good. Audio for a sec before I get back in all of this. Alright, so let's see. Okay, back to it then. Undo all this stuff. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Seriously? There we go. Bring all that. Let's build some boots. Alright, well, sketch some boots out anyway. Let's Dynamesh this sucker. Really gotta get some Dynamesh tools in my UI here. Maybe I can use the D key for that. Maybe build a custom menu at some point here. Really digging the custom menus these days. But let's bring this down to 64. I like to work with as light Dynamesh as I can while I'm blocking and building like this. So. I need that symmetry. Oops. Symmetry on. There we go. Basically got boot. I need my own boot and some additional reference there. Right. Back to it. Okay, so yeah, okay. I think I know what I want to do. Let's do Oh, hi. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I can certainly try to do that. Let me just swap this out. Is that better, or am I too loud? Let me. Sorry, it's a new mic. I didn't even realize people were in here. Hi, Birdie. Been getting used to doing this solo for a while. Yeah, I'm just kind of sketching out a boot at the moment. Do you do some ZBrushing yourself, or? Well, I've just started doing this, so I've had a few people tune into the stream a couple times here and there, but this is basically my third try at this. Ah, yeah. Well, I'm not actually blocking out the feet themselves, not at the moment anyway. I'm kind of doing the boot for them at the moment, just kind of filling it all in. What are you doing your feet for? We all gotta start somewhere, right? I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Well, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm new to Twitch streaming, but I'm certainly not new to sculpting, so if you happen to have any questions at all, I'm happy to answer them.